some reason, it ended up. I have a co-host. Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here today, my name is Audrey, and I'm being joined by my bestest friend in the whole wide world, Shannon.
Hello.
And as for Shannon's request, we are going to be talking about movies of the 2000, the Y2K. This is more Shannon's wheelhouse because I was like looking stuff up and realizing, in terms of like the rom-coms, I think I've seen two of them.
Which ones?
Mean Girls came out in the 2000s.
Mm,
Um,
2004.
yeah, and then now I'm forgetting the other one. I looked up a list of them. I feel like this was also the era of the parody movies. Like Scary Movie was very popular in the 2000s.
It's fine if you've only seen Mean Girls because I can talk about Mean Girls for hours because it's my favorite movie of all time.
Well, you could talk about any of these movies and I can just weigh in, but there's like so many of these that I've not seen. Um, I like how it's as popular 2000s comedies according to Google, and Cars is included.
I
Disney.
had I had Shrek. I looked it up as well. I had Shrek.
Oh, Shrek
So
is great. I've seen Shrek.
oh
We're
yes.
including Shrek. I thought we were including just like the Mean Girls-esque sort of
No, I mean it Shrek has Mean Girls in it, so it works. Like I think in the second one it has Mean Girls, so it kind of works. And it also has E Entertainment or a parody of it, so it
yeah.
works. But we can talk about that. There's also the B movie that's very a culturally impactful.
I loved B Movie when it came out because I was what, a
It
kid. I loved the
yeah,
movie, and but like if you look back on it, why did she leave her man for AB? What is going
because oh, it's Jerry Seinfeld is very much like Adam Sandler, in which I had a discussion with my cousin with this, that you know how there's like romantic comedies, there's action movies. Adam Sandler movies, it's its own genre of,
on? Oh
of movie,
yeah,
because there's a movie, whatever what happens, there's a beautiful girl who falls in love with Adam Sandler wearing basketball shorts. Like
that's
that's
that's where
all
you strive. That's how I strive to be in the future.
right.
You must have
You're
some game.
telling me that Leslie Mann is going to fall in love with Adam Sandler? Okay.
It's funny. I feel like those particular movies didn't age very well, but a lot of them I did enjoy when I saw them. I wonder if it's just, I feel like there's a lot of these movies from the 2000s that just didn't age well at all. Um, yeah,
No, I think I love them mostly because of the nostalgia. Because a movie like Mean Girls, I don't think I would like it. I think it would have been made better, but if it was released as is, I
mhm.
probably wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah, I think in terms of those, I prefer that type of genre, the movies that came out like previously in the 90s versus the ones that came out in the 2000s. They're very, this is a 2000s movie, which is fine.
Mhm.
Like it is kind of a time capsule type movie. So, which is, I think a lot of people don't necessarily like. They would prefer something that seems timeless, but I think it's a little bit more interesting when it is like peak 2000s.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was the era of Rachel McAdams. She was like really big in this era.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, because I didn't watch a lot of those. I didn't particularly like a lot of romantic comedies. I was always like very it's very tomboyish when I was little, which is funny. Um, so I always just kind of watch what my brothers are watching, which explains why I watched like Step Brothers, the Adam Sandler comedy movies that came out way before the um, parody movies. And I was like way too young because Scary Movie is super explicit. I don't think that movie is rated R. I think it's unrated. Like there's like full frontal male nudity in that movie. There is in Step Brothers too. So I was like, why was I this little watching this? But yeah, I mean,
Do you remember the movie with Drew Barrymore and Skeet Ulrich that we saw? It was it was a horror movie, and I think Scary Movie is based off that. It's a
oh,
parody of
Scream.
that. Yeah. So Scream is also a parody of a movie that came out 10 years before, I
No,
believe,
I know.
right?
I love Scream. It's one of my favorite movies ever. Yeah, it's a parody of slasher movies as a whole. So
Mhm,
it's more so a parody of like Halloween than anything else.
mhm,
But yeah, no, I just the parody movies. Um, yeah, I'm just yeah. Oh, Zoolander came out. I've seen Zoolander. So that's
mhm,
kind of like a goofy. Ben Stiller was very big in the early 2000s too. Like
mhm.
Dodgeball came out around there. The Will Ferrell comedies were really big, like Anchorman and what was Talladega Nights, like a lot of that stuff. So I watched mostly that stuff. This was a big time of the former SNL cast from the 90s
Mhm.
being in everything. And some of the sketches from the show were um, made into movies because I remember I definitely saw Ladies Man, which was an SNL skit from like the early 90s, maybe the
Mhm.
80s. This is also, yeah, because um, Jim Carrey was in a lot of stuff as well.
Yeah.
What was the other thing? Oh, this was also like extending the era of time where we have like remakes of cartoons either being put
Mhm.
into live action or being put with like their cartoon characters with real people in it. It started with Roger Rabbit, but there's like
Oh,
a
well,
Looney Tunes
I
one
have
that
to
I
talk
never
about
saw.
Space Jam now. So even though it was released in 1998, I it's just there.
Oh yeah, are we here to talk about the Star Wars prequel trilogy and then this Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies? Those are very 2000s. What's on your list? What are your list?
um, I have Mean Girls because that's the one I've watched the most. And I look like Regina George's mom because I have a pink tracksuit on. But yeah, I have a bone to pick with Tina Fey, who constantly makes fun of Asians in her movies in general. And I was watching a video on TikTok of a Vietnamese guy who was like, I don't understand why Tina Fey made the Vietnamese girls first very mean, very catty, and also there's an assembly at the end of the movie, and they Tina Fey made the girls sound like they were saying the N word when they are actually not saying the N word at all. And so it was captioned like the full word, and I was very shocked the first time I saw this, but apparently that's not even what they said. So
Oh my god. Yeah, I
yeah,
don't I
but
don't
she,
know.
she has done that a lot. Apparently, she's like obsessed with Asian women and making them look bad, which is not really what we need right
Yeah,
now.
not in this climate, for sure. Yeah, because that's my thing. I mean, like I said, I think a lot of stuff really feels very like a lot of stuff wouldn't slide today.
Mhm.
Um, and I think like just to be honest, I never picked up on that. So that's just something that like honestly they would just hope at this point would fly under the radar. But no, that's really crazy. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Tina Fey's like what? How old is she? She like 50?
I think so. I think she's at least like 51 or 52.
Yeah, I was like, am I over exaggerating how old she is? Like, I honestly at this point I don't know. But yeah, no, I mean, some of the stuff that I mean in SNL, they were on SNL, and honestly, there's a lot of problematic stuff that they write in that show, and that gets produced and put right into the show. So, like, I think they're just breeding a not very good environment. And luckily, I do think a lot of things have changed for the better.
Mhm.
But I think it's like
It
this.
has to do with the cast is so much more diverse now.
Oh yeah,
I
because
mean, it
the
could
other
be
thing is
better, but It's such a change from when Tina Fey and Jimmy Fallon were on the show. To come back to the movies from the 2000s, there's like a rampant issue of fat phobia where in Bring It On 3, I think it's Bring It On 3 that Hayden Panettiere and Solange Knowles are in. There's this girl that when I look at the movie now, she looks like me, and I'm not particularly big or skinny. I'm average, but she looks like me, and she was made to be the fat one. And I also have a bone to pick with Kate Moss for this one and all the Olsen twins and all of that. But
Oh
I
yeah.
just there's a huge issue of fat phobia that shouldn't have existed because it was ridiculous.
Well, I saw on the list like Norbit was on there. I think this was like around the time they did like Fat Albert was on there too. And then like the ending of Dodgeball, it's like made a joke that Ben Stiller his character gets like really, really fat. So yeah, it's a huge problem with a lot of stuff. I mean, like I feel like Awesome Powers 2 has a lot. They have a character literally called Fat Bastard. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's like one of those things watching, like, oof, this is not good. But funny enough, I was watching a video on Twitter yesterday and I forgot entirely about it. But School of Rock would fall into this as well, would fall into the 2000s movies. And it really does have like a big body positivity message just because, Jack Black's always been a big dude and he's not ashamed of the fact that he's a big dude. I don't think he's ever played characters where it's like, haha, like you're fat, like sort of. It's just like he happens to be a big guy and he's in this and it's great. I haven't seen School of Rock in so long and I was like, wow, I should rewatch this movie. That one probably does
It's
age
really
pretty well.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah, I
like
think it's really like validating the feelings. I think I saw that video, but it was really like I watched it. It was like, yeah, you guys can do whatever you want. Like I think Vanessa Hudgens' character was like really emo, but he never made fun of her for being emo. He,
right.
it was like I think this is a movie that could have been made today.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's kind of crazy though to think about it. I mean, I've just noticed so much of that stuff that it's kind of crazy that it sticks out when you get a positive body positive message like that just because of everything going on. What was next? What else was on your list?
Um, yeah, the Bring It On movies. It's a series about cheerleading, and they hired. I don't think the main characters are all cheerleaders because I'm pretty sure Solange is not a cheerleader.
Hmm.
But um, yeah, they hired real cheerleaders for the extras at least,
Oh,
and it was really intense. I watched some interviews, and they were like, "Yeah, the training is really intense. The choreography, everything has to fall into place, and they're real cheerleading figures." But I just I love the movies, but the first two movies, well, the first movie is iconic because of Gabrielle Union, which I'm pretty sure she used to be a cheerleader, so it's fine. But the second movie, the second or the third movie, where they talk about how Whittier, which is played by Hayden Panettiere, she moves to a school in the inner city, and the girls from her school in the suburbs, they're like, oh no, you became black, like you're she used a term that could be like snow bunny, but that's much worse. So I just sometimes I feel like they use black people as the butt of the jokes most of the time.
yeah.
And I don't think they did that for the first movie, but the because the first movie came out in 1999, I believe. But the second and the third movie, they just use black people as the butt of the jokes.
I've never seen Bring It On. I remember they made a terrible musical adaptation because we're in the era of making Y2K films into musicals. It's just movies
Mm,
in general. making into musicals. Like I think Mean Girls is particularly terrible too, but not the movie, the musical. I think the musical is terrible because it just.
Yeah, I can see that from the poster.
I met somebody who's in it, and I respect them as a performer, but the show is not for me. And that's how I feel about Bring It On, because I think Bring It On was about choreography too, but then like if the
Yeah.
show's bad, choreography can't save it, sort of thing. So what else? What's next? What's next?
Um, High School Musical. I
Oh yeah, it's
know
a High
you.
School Musical.
So, how many of them have you seen?
Just the first one.
Just the first one. That's fine. My favorite is the second one because it's during the summer. But the first one is it's a whole thing. I want to say that Sharpay deserves justice because
Tons.
she has always been a theater kid, and I have when I was younger, when High School Musical first came out, I had posters of Troy and Chad in my room. But now I realize that Troy does not have any problems. He's like, oh, I'm too good at basketball. Do I get a basketball scholarship or do I get a singing scholarship or do I get a golf scholarship? And like his dad's the basketball coach. Sharpay is trying to like get him to meet people so that he can get a good scholarship for university. He's talented. Everyone loves him. And yet he still cries all the time. Like that is the least that is the life that I wish I had
Yeah,
because
they just let it.
Gabriella she has to move all the time because I guess her mom doesn't have like a stable job. Sharpay she has Sharpay problems, but
No problems.
yeah, Troy does not have any problems. And
Yeah.
it's so weird to think about like guys like the people who make movies. It's so painfully obvious that they want the girls to have a crush on a certain character. Troy is attractive for 11-year-olds, but
Oh, that's just Zac Efron.
also, did you know that director of the movie, Kenny Ortega, he said that Ryan Sharp's brother is canon gay, but they couldn't put that on Disney.
Oh, of course they can put that on Disney. They always like backtrack and do like, yeah, this person is canon, whatever, but then we're not going to say the word. You're just going to have to imagine it. Like it's
Yeah, and I know you haven't seen the second one, but in the second one, there's a song called "I Don't Dance," and it's Troy and Chad playing baseball. But at the end of the scene, Troy and Chad swapped clothes. So, you know, and
oh God.
there's a whole jazz number, and you're like, Troy's like, I mean, Chad is like, oh wait, I don't dance, I don't do these things, and Ryan's like, yeah, you can, like, I can play ball and I can dance. Why can't you do that? And it's like, okay, that was the sexual tension is just too much.
Do we have a film to end on? Because I have to go to work soon.
Yeah, definitely Clueless. I think it's my favorite. It falls uh,
95,
into
Shannon. You said Y2K.
I know, but I watched all of these movies at the same time, so to me it's like the same period. And also the Y2K period really started after 9/11 and everything that even stuff from the 2000, it it's still kind of 90s, so it's a kind of a gray area, but Clueless and High School Musical are my favorites. I love the character development in Clueless. So
Out of those, I would prefer, yeah, so that's 90s is 10 Things I Hate About You. But because it's an adaptation of Taming of the Shrew, which I love that play. But out of the 2000s, my favorite, out of like the ones that I've seen in that sort of genre, I like Legally Blonde a lot.
Mhm.
I was in Legally Blonde. I was
Oh,
Vivian, so Yeah, it makes sense. I always get cast as that sort of a bitch character. Um, she has revelations, and then she's like, "We're not enemies after all." So yeah, there's a lot of that's a good movie. Not something I particularly watch. Like these aren't movies I would like go back and watch every year. But if it was on, I'd be like, yeah, I enjoy this sort of thing. It's not my particular favorite era of
Yeah.
film, but you know, that's about it.
And nothing is better than the B movie and Shrek.
Nothing, hands down.
Though they are really timeless. Like I'm not even saying this as a joke, but they're the B movie and the first two Shrek movies are timeless.
All right, B movie makes some points at the end though when they're sitting there like you need to buy honey or what is it?
So at first, Barry was like, they're using all of our honey for their own consumption, their own pleasure, and then
He comes around, right?
he realized that we make honey for people to use. What?
That's true. That's so
Mm.
true. The anti-vegan
Which
messages
is
is big.
why it's not necessarily unsustainable to consume bee honey.
No, I agree. Just everything is about sustainability and how you do it, and that is why Jurassic Park is totally possible. Movie morals, messages that are real. Jurassic Park could happen. Anyway,
No, there is a Jurassic Park. It's called the Chicken Coop. You can go to that. It's the same. You have dinosaurs there.
all right. Well,
In another way, you have the Expendables. That's also a dinosaur movie.
do not do Sylvester Stallone like this. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up the video here. I'm gonna
Mhm.
because I don't want it to go on forever. So thank you so much for joining me, Shannon. If you want to plug yourself a little bit, where to find you? Hold on, Phil's barking.
Well, I have a YouTube channel. It's my artist name is Shan, Shan, and I have a music video coming out on the 30th.
Check it out.
And my new song comes out on the same day. So please check it out.
I'll
And I
link it
make music. I have a studio, and I'll make videos very soon.
Yeah, I'll link all of that below and put like the username and stuff on the screen. I'm obviously my name is Audrey, so you're on this video. You just like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.
Bye.